Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Christelle Martinette. And before I start my July readings, I just want to say, it'll take me about 5 minutes, a few words about dimensions and about the work we do as readers, how it's done, how it's actually done. I've been hearing a lot of people in YouTube throwing around the word Akashic Records and Akashic Records readings, the Tree of Life, and so on. It seems that these are the latest watchwords of the day. But to be able to address a wide audience, because YouTube indeed does address a wide audience, it may be helpful to dispel a lot of the confusion, to clarify a lot of things by explaining where we actually get our information and how. So to do that, I'm going to take a multidimensional perspective. Many spiritual traditions and teachers talk about 10 different dimensions of existence. The equations in physics that are put forth by this theory called superstring theory talks about 10 dimensions of existence. So what is that? Superstring theory is an attempt to explain all of the particles and fundamental forces of nature in one only theory by modeling them as vibrations of tiny supersymmetric strings, tiny energy strings. You hear us often mention when we say our vibrational rate. This is what we refer to. And in the soul work and the soul therapy I do, I've personally always considered there to be 10 dimensions of existence for the soul, with an added to the 11th and the 12th dimension existences reserved to other supernatural beings, or we can call them spirits, we can call them celestial beings, we can call them divine messengers or angels and archangels. And especially recently, could be 10 years, but recently, specifically 2-3 last years, the dimensional levels of our being that we're able to access personally from this dimension, this third dimension, because I'm speaking to you from the third dimensional incarnation with my flesh and blood and bones, we've increased our ability greatly over this past few years of how we access higher regions. We're more and more able to conceive of the choices that we make and the choices that express who we are at the soul level. We're more and more aware of our individuality, that in theory, at least, we also get to be exactly who we are in theory, rather than having to follow some, society norm or convention or cultural norm. But this is not true, of course, for all parts of the world, all parts of the planet, because many people, however, though, are opening up to living by their own unique rules today. And as our thoughts align to who we are at soul level, we can receive then more information and guidance from upper dimensional aspects of our beings at the level of mind. So each of us, however, has an aspect at every single dimensional level. Each of us not only has a third dimensional person, but we have also a fourth and a fifth dimensional person. We're fourth and fifth dimensional beings. We also have an aspect that is sixth dimensional, seventh dimensional, and so on. But while we may not exactly be actively working within these planes, we already exist there. Think of the various dimensions as a cake, a layer cake. They're all one, it's a cake, and they're not separate from one another. They're all in one cake, and all the dimensions are layered one on top of another, and they exist at the same time, exist simultaneously. And every dimension affects another dimensions. Things that happen in one dimension affects other dimensions. And this is why spiritual evolution takes place through our experiences in this third dimension. But, and this is the trick, this density, this third dimension is very dense. Its physical experience is very dense. It makes it the dimension that most affects every other dimensional aspect of our existence. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to affect physical matter. Far more greater energy than it takes to think, for example. Our choices here in this third dimension affect our soul's vibration rate by either aligning to our divine self-expression or not. And the denser the dimension, the more profoundly all other dimensions are affected. And while at a less dense dimension, such as the fifth dimension, where we do clearing work, where I clear work for people, definitely has an effect on a denser dimension as a fourth or third, it takes more time for this effect to take place, and it is more subtle, depending on how self-aware, and this is the proviso, depending on how self-aware we are at these upper dimensional levels of existence. But it's important to think of the different dimensions as different perspective of our being. Dimensions are different from each other, but at a higher, I just want to mention that a higher dimension is not superior to the lower dimensions. They simply have different energetic qualities. And as a soul therapist, I do clearing at the fifth dimensional level in order to affect a person's entire being. And the Akashic records, that word thrown around so much, those are located also at the fifth dimension. The soul vibration rate of a person indicates to us what dimension we are primarily receiving guidance and information from, what dimensional aspect we would identify with as our higher self, while we talk about higher and lower vibration rates. That's what it refers to. So if we live our divine self-expression, we actually have the opportunity to embody our higher dimensional aspects within this human experience. This makes it possible then to access our records, Akashic records, whatever you want to call them, or rather, information of your soul's blueprint, your soul's history. And since all psychics, like myself, can really tap into great stores of energetic information, you can understand that it's really fundamental for you to work with someone you can trust. It's all about love as well, and how they can give love. And as we evolve further, you will begin to be fascinated as your vibrational rate becomes higher. You'll become fascinated with relationships and how our interdependence as humans affects our spiritual evolution. And you'll feel a natural desire to engage with others and serve others through the purpose that you have here. And at the same time, you'll want to engage with whole groups rather than individuals, hence the idea of giving seminars. And your method of manifestation will also change as you evolve. At first, we can manifest or channel information that moves us into action. Basically, we receive guidance on what to do in order to create the outcome that we want. And this is fifth dimensional vibration rate. And as we evolve in time, we begin to draw experiences to ourselves by shifting our states of being, usually through action. And that occurs at the upper fifth dimensional and the lower sixth dimensional rate. And eventually we manifest what we want by manifesting the relationships with others that our soul wants to experience, or by manifesting the relationship we have with ourselves. And this occurs at upper sixth dimension and seventh dimension vibration rate. I hope that these 5-6 minutes have made it a bit clearer for you, because once you evolve spiritually, and we help you do that, you yourself can benefit from tapping into different dimensions, thus receiving directly the guidance you want. That spirit guide team reading that I mentioned on my website, that's what it's all about, becoming in tune to your higher self. Now off to the July readings. Hey Taurus, time to look at our July reading. These were mixed, but I want to mix them up. This is the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot. I have my Angel Tarot with me and Vida Sibila, as well as my runes. Let's see what's coming up. Pre-shuffled, but give it another go. You know, what I see here is a month that will call upon you to enact a ritual, It's as if you know that something important is going to come after the month of July. The month of July for you is a month where there's sort of an air of reverence. You know that there's a sacred moment, and you're getting that. You're feeling that there's a sacred moment, a mist, and you know that something needs to be issued, or, ushered in, and it calls for a moment of thanks, a moment of preparation, a sacred moment where you put everything in place, give thanks, and then move on, because you know that something is coming your way in the near future. But not only, you've been in the past few months in a sort of process. You've been going through a process where you seem to prepare all of those little, you've not tied the knots, dotting your I's, crossing the T's. You have been preparing for something, as if you knew that something was coming up ahead. It's not that you actually planted seeds, you just knew. You knew that something was going to come your way. And what's interesting is that you have spoken, you've used anything to do with your intellect, talk, studies, engaging with people who are as specialists in things. You have spent time with them talking, exchanged ideas, and not specifically talking about one plan or one project, but you've exchanged notions, and your mind has been very, very awake to certain elements. You have your antennas up, and it's as if you're holding a lamppost. You're holding on the one hand a lamppost that's full of, it's lit by electricity, but on the other you have a torch that's a man-made element, and both are man-made, but one you switch on, and the other you light, and the torch is your power, your passion, and the light is the ease of the tools that you have at your disposal. And you're going to make these two lights, these two sources of light flow together to illuminate your near future, because I said again, it's near future. And what's interesting here is that it's as if you know it's your turn. And that is what is so lovely to see in this spread. I have to admit there's a part of the spread where it does talk about your churning emotions, and that you don't let on to anyone else. You don't talk about them, but you have inside you. There is this vision of you taking up rule someplace in a far-off land. You becoming the master of your destiny. You becoming the person with the grand design that you have had, and that has been working in your dreams, as if you slowly but surely, because you haven't fully started planting. It's as if you have planted for a lifetime. And not necessarily putting black on white to show, or selling a plan or things like that. It's something that it's part of your makeup, and now in the near future it's coming up for you. Wow. Taurus, you are very self-confident. You're very sure your step is secure when you move among your friends. You enjoy your time with your friends. There's really nothing that seems to bother you, except for that moment. When shall I start to celebrate? Let me turn on the light. Let me light the torch. Which is the best? I'll turn on the light, the lamppost, just to give us a little bit, beam on us the light of the future. Let me to illuminate the near future and give me an idea, give me a taste of what's up ahead. The torch I'm going to use when I really come into my own. This is what you're thinking. Now, let me see what these angel tarot will tell us. Wow, you've got 4 major arcana here. The Hierophant, the Death card, Fides Veritas, have faith, have trust. The Chariot is the focus, the Moon. Now, that you're moving toward an area that is not completely illuminated now and seems almost not ready for you, that is a given. That is a given because you know, you've seen it, you've practically dreamt of it, the details. That you're going to be transformed is something that you do not yet know, because it is still part of a plan, an inner plan. It's like a destiny or a fate. It's a fated element for you, Taurus, where you know it's coming up because you feel that it's your turn. And it is going to be a rather important transformation. Now, the interesting part here is remember I said that there was a lot of talk. You use your time, your free time, to put out your antennas and talk to people around you, but you gather information here, you gather information there, and it's as if you're storing it in your computer, in your body's computer, and you're going to take it out when you need it. There, I have to say, there are things that you do not know that will be coming up. You're doing the groundwork, okay? And in that groundwork, there's something there. I'll illuminate that with the Vera Sibilla. There's something in the groundwork that is sort of hidden to you. I want to know if it's timing or if it's information. We'll get that from the Vera Sibilla. Also, there is this notion of a reflexive turn. There's a reflexive turn. You putting out and getting back. It's as if the cards are telling you, the incoming cards, the entry cards, are saying, you have put in, you've been good, Taurus. You have put in your work. Now it's payback time for you. But there's a greater sort of message here. It's not only a matter of being payback time for you. It's a time where you'll see and learn far beyond what you imagined. There's something not only that you don't see, but there's something that, there's a part of the future for you that is going to come at you as if it were something that you never dreamed of at all. There's something there that you did imagine. Okay, let's say that you wanted to be a businessman. You're a young person and you say, I want to have my own business, okay? But I'm working for peanuts now. I'm working literally for peanuts. And on the job, you talk to this person, you talk to this supplier and that supplier, and you just bring in the information. You make a mental note of it. And plus, after so many years of working in this position, you have started dreaming. Dreamt of, well, if I were in this position, I would do it that way. If I were in that position, I would do it that way. If I were him, I would. And you start creating sort of little roles, and you paint pictures. If I were there, I would do it this way. If I were there, I'd do it that way. And each little picture that you paint ends up being a role model for you. And it's actually a learning process that you have. And you have them in your pocket, in your soul, and you can whip them out anytime you enter that new role. There's something here that you are not imagining, but that will be asked of you at a moment when you'll be ready to fill that role. Let me take the Vera Sibilla right on that, the entrance card. Yeah, there it is, okay. There is dispiacere, sadness, nemica, the enemy, and sospiri. This is telling me that what you don't know is that all of a sudden, after all of this period of time, when things start coming in for you, the ship, it is a matter of learning and you have never done this before, to deal with what bothers you the most. It's yourself. You haven't yet enough dealt with your mirror. You haven't yet put that mirror up and looked at it enough. And that is going to be an added bonus. That's going to be the challenge, let's say. It's going to be a challenge of you learning to deal with yourself. But it will be coming in due time, as I said, when you step into this new life, new project, new job, whatever it is, it will happen at a moment when you are ready for it. But that is the challenge for you. Now, the movement here into an area that at present is not prepared, the groundwork has not been prepared yet, the focus of the spread, going towards something new, but that has not materialized in any respect. Let me see what the Vera Sibila has to say. Well, this is also a challenge. This is a guaranteed gran consolazione, guaranteed success. Not only mirrors the consolante sorpresa, as every foot of, every step you take, every step of the way, you will be aided, as you will also be challenged. This is a guaranteed challenge and aid, but the end result is success. And that is let's say that is the matrix of your plan. That's the underlying theme of the period up ahead. It is success. How it plays that out is challenge and surprise. Challenge and surprise. And it's the nature, it's how you deal with those challenges that will ultimately increase or decrease the element, the surprise element. Now I'm going to this lamppost, the electric lamppost that's shedding light, and the torch, and looking up to see what you can see for yourself and what is in store. These are the outgoing cards. Well, you'll be going it alone. This is the sacerdote. This is a single person. This is if it's going to be a business. It's your business. If you're partnered now and you're moving forward, it's a moment when you're going to separate, but it has to do with an activity. It may have to do with an institution, a marriage. This tells me that you'll be going, if it has to do with a marriage, it is the future up ahead as a single person, the beginning of that. And we know that it will be successful. There are no negative cards here. And this is what you're trying to look into as a single person. What is it what will become of me once I'm single? Now, this, however, talks to business as well. You're going it alone in the future when your ship starts coming in, to use the metaphor, and the beginning will be characterized by a strong financial base. I have no doubt about that. Let me just look at this death card and the inner workings of your soul in terms of how you experience the element of change. Oh, I have death upon death, okay? The death card again, so it is a complete revolution, transformation, domestico. Even if you don't move anywhere, what I'm seeing is something changing for you, not necessarily you going somewhere. There is the Chariot card again, but the Chariot is, let me show you that before I continue explaining that Chariot is with the Grand Bois. And the Grand Bois is something that, if you look at it, it is blue. Blue is the color of purity, but it is not yet in flower. And the Chariot is something which needs to prosper right where you are. The Chariot in many decks is an indication of going, preparing things, but right where you are, not moving. And here I'm seeing that there is a transformation where you are. It's not that you're going to be moving great distances, and you are going to be involving other people and telling them about it, as we saw here, the event about talking to other people and getting some notions here, getting some notions there, and creating a role model for yourself and putting it in your soul. That work is going to be done close to home, so it's not really a far move. Let me take the runes here. Okay. Yes, the transformation. We saw both death cards. Yes, the transformation. Very important transformation. Long-awaited transformation. Yes, yes, yes. Much needed transformation. You will be receiving, how can I say? You'll be receiving, many of you will be receiving an actual award. You'll be given an award, you'll be given a plaque, you'll be giving something for your efforts. But most of us, you'll be given an idea. You'll be given an idea that runs something to this effect. You'll be understanding the challenge and the teaching here for the month of July is nothing comes from nothing. And the effort you put in is equal to the effort that you get out. And of course, these ideas can also be relegated to old religious teachings, but it's not that the way that I'm couching it here. You'll be learning that as you put into the effort, as you put your efforts into this new endeavor that's coming up, and it will be beyond the month of July now, the teaching here is that you will not be given something for nothing. Do not believe that what you earn is something that is a surprise, because you have worked for it. If it's not in this life, it is in a previous life. That it's coming around now in this life for you, Taurus, that it's your turn. And you would do well to use your oral skills, talk to people. Again, it's coming up over those cards that did mention, talk to people, get the role model set, put it in your soul, put it in your pocket. Try to learn what different roles you can fill in future. Now, the challenge also here, because it seems that it's a challenge. It's a very soft-spoken challenge for you. And it seems that the soft-spoken challenge is something that you cannot avoid. It's something you need to do, unless you just close your eyes, your ears, see no evil, say no evil, speak no evil, and you just make believe nothing is around you. But if you step to the challenge, and we will step to the challenge, Taurus, what comes here is not only wealth. It's not a matter of wealth. There is money here, and it's talking about economic value, of course. But there is the teaching, the learning process in the near future that is of most benefit to you and that will bring you most joy. It's lovely to see. It's lovely to see. It's a huge challenge, and it's an interesting challenge. I mean, we have Wunyo here, which brings you joy. And it is joy in the challenge, Taurus. Ladies and gentlemen, Taurus, I hope this was of help to you. And do enjoy your month of July. And for those of you who are in the United States, have a wonderful 4th of July. Bye-bye.